Okay, so I think we're going to start lying down today. We'll start lying on our backs. You can use a little pillow under your head if you'd like. And we'll start with knees bent, feet wide, and knees falling in on one another. Excuse me. There we go. Heels out, toes turned slightly in. And the knees don't have to touch, but they're just leaning inwards. If they do touch, that's fine, but for example, mine are not. And just take a couple of deep breaths. Nice big inhales and big exhales. And allow yourself to just settle in. Allow your shoulders to be heavy. Each inhale, we create a little space, and with each exhale, those shoulders sink a little bit closer to the mat. Allowing your hips to relax, toes relaxed. In between the legs are just restful. Just watching the belly rise and fall. Maybe you notice the sound of the breath, the pace or the rhythm of the breath. Noticing how just taking a few deep breaths makes you feel. How being still makes you feel. We'll take about 3-4 more breaths here. Today I keep finding my shoulders creeping up towards my jaw. Let those shoulders relax. And then go ahead and make fists with the hands. Tuck the elbows in at your waist and then straighten the arms so those fists will end up just outside your hips. You can even walk the shoulder blades underneath you just a smidge. Walk the soles of the feet towards one another. Let the feet come to touch and let the knees fall wide. So now your thighs are resting on those hips. If you need more support than that, you can always take your blocks and place them underneath your knees or thighs. We're going to stay here for about a minute. So give yourself a couple of breaths before you decide that you want to remove the hands. Just see where things go. We're not pushing our legs down towards the floor. We're not holding them up. They are resting with ease. Each inhale creates a little space. Each exhale allows for a little more softening. Take 2 more breaths here. with your next inhale, go ahead and bring the knees all the way back up. Remove the blanket from behind your head if you were using one, or pillow, whatever it was, and pull the knees in towards the chest. You can roll around a little bit on the small of the back. That can just be side to side if you'd like, or maybe make some circles. Whatever feels good to you. Place a hand on each kneecap. We're going to draw circles with the knees in opposite directions. Right knee to the right, left knee to the left. Change direction. We'll meet with the knees back in the chest. Hold on to that right leg. Let your left leg stretch out long on the mat. Open the toes on that right foot and roll it around in circles. You can even scrunch the toes a little bit if you'd like and open them back up again. Just waking up the right foot, the right ankle, even getting a little bit into that shin and calf. And then the right hand is going to stay on that right knee. Left hand is going to come to that left hip, just keeping that left hip grounded. Let the right knee come out to the right. It's not going to get very far before that left hip starts to lift. As soon as it does, pause, press that hip back down, and just let that right knee get as far as it can while still keeping that left hip grounded. One more breath. And then we're going to switch. Right hand is going to come down by that right hip, just sort of gluing that hip. I'm going to use my thumb to hook it in the hip crease there, and then just take that left hand on that right knee, encouraging the right knee across as though it were reaching up towards that left shoulder. Leave the left hand on the knee, open the right arm out to a T. Give yourself a twist to the left. So now that right hip will lift. Keep that right shoulder grounded. Option to pick the head up, turn to the right and place the head back down. One more breath. Back to center. Switch the legs. Left knee comes into the chest. Right leg stretches out long on the mat. Open the toes. Move the ankle around for that left foot. Point and squeeze the toes. You can lift and spread. Really whatever you find your body needs. And then go ahead and leave the left hand on that left knee. Right hand's going to come to that right hip just to keep it grounded as we open that left knee up and out to the left. As soon as that right hip starts to lift, pause, press that hip back down. Keep that right shoulder grounded. The whole right side of the body is going to stay down on the floor. One more breath. Back through center and switch the hands. I'm going to hook my left thumb in that left hip crease just to encourage that hip down as I point the left knee up towards the right shoulder. One more breath here. Leaving the right hand on the knee, open the left arm out to a T and give yourself a twist to the right. Leave the left shoulder grounded. So that probably means the knee doesn't come to the floor. Option to pick the head up, turn to the left, and place the head back down. Take one more breath. Bring the knee all the way back up again. Pull both knees into the chest. Take a nice big breath in. As you exhale, pull your forehead towards your knees. Curl up into a little ball. As you inhale, stretch out on the mat. Interlace the fingers. Glue the legs together as you reach long through the heels. Reach the palms for the baseboards. Arms are up alongside the ears. Exhale, curl it back up into a little ball, forehead towards your knees. Inhale, stretch it all back out again. Exhale, curl it all back up. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl it up. One more time, inhale, extend. And exhale, curl it up. Let the head and shoulders relax. Hook the hands on the backs of the knees. We're going to roll the length of the spine a few times. Shoulders to tailbone. Shoulders to tailbone. Try not to put too much weight in the head or neck. And then we'll meet balanced on our tailbones. Pull the shoulders back. You can place tippy toes down on the floor if you'd like and stay right here. Elbows would be down by your hips. Chest is lifted. Or if you'd like, you can let the hands go. Still, tippy toes can be down on the floor. It's all about lifting the chest. You can float the feet to knee height. You can extend arms and legs. Take 3 more breaths wherever you're at. 2, 1. Release. Come to seated. I would recommend sitting on something, a blanket or a pillow. Just getting a tiny bit of lift, even just an inch or two underneath that tailbone can make a big difference. And it is just back under the tailbone. Pubic bone is still down on the floor. Sit up nice and tall. Go ahead and float those arms up overhead. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms back up. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms back up. Leave the left arm alongside the ear. Bring the right hand down to the floor. Go ahead and walk that right hand out until that left hip gets light. When it does, press into that right hand, gluing that hip back down and lengthening through that left shoulder. The option to look up towards that left elbow or down towards the floor or move between those two spots or just keep the gaze straight ahead. Watch that right shoulder doesn't creep up into the ear. Now keeping the torso to the right, reach that left hand back to the left palm up, shoulder height. Turn the gaze now down to your right hand. So we're lengthening from the tips of the fingers through the crown of the head. You can feel it anywhere along that chain. Maybe some of you feel it in the forearm. I often feel it a little bit in the bicep. Today I'm feeling it along the back of the neck. One more breath. Inhale all the way back up, arms reach up overhead. Left hand comes down. Walk that left hand out till the right hip gets light. Glue that right hip back down again and lengthen the right side of the body. The hip is your anchor. The point of movement is the shoulder. And again, you can take the gaze up or down or anywhere in between. Just try not to hang on that left shoulder. Leaving the torso to the left, reach the right arm back to the right, shoulder height, palm up, and then turn the gaze down to that left hand. Maybe you feel it somewhere different on this side. I kind of feel it all the way up, almost through my jaw. One more breath. Inhale all the way back up, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Wherever you end up, back those hands up a little bit. Soften the elbows, soften the shoulders. I have my elbows practically underneath the shoulders. Keep the chest open, those shoulders back. So you're reaching with your heart, not the crown of your head. It's not about getting your nose to the floor. One more breath. Inhale all the way back up. Reach arms up overhead. Maybe leave the arms in the air as you go ahead and switch the feet. Other ankle in front. And exhale, forward fold. Again, you can back those elbows up quite a bit. This is about the hips, not about the shoulders right now. We want to keep the chest open. Neck free to move. One more breath. Inhale all the way back up, arms reach up overhead. And exhale, release. Sit up nice and tall for a moment. See how you feel. And then we'll go ahead and clear our space and come to hands and knees. Spread the fingers wide. Index fingers going to point forward. Creases of the elbows point forward. So if you were to bend the elbows, they should bend back towards your thighs. Knees are stacked underneath the hips, feet behind the knees. Inhale, open the chest, lift the tailbone. Exhale, round. Inhale, open the chest, lift the tailbone. Exhale, round. 3 more, just like that. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Back to a neutral spine. Go ahead and reach that right arm up towards the ceiling. And then thread the right arm underneath the left. Head and shoulders are going to be supported on something. If they don't make it all the way to the mat, maybe place a blanket underneath your shoulder or underneath your head. We're going to keep that left elbow nice and high, so I even recommend fingertips. It's more comfortable for the wrist, but it also encourages that left shoulder back a little bit further. The other thing we need to keep an eye on are those hips. They're going to want to sway off to the left. Don't let them. Try and keep them back over the knees. One more breath. Exhale, release, tabletop. Left arm reaches up and open the chest. And exhale, thread it through. Again, head and shoulders supported on something. If it's not the floor, then a blanket, a pillow. Right elbow is nice and high. I recommend fingertips. And then make sure those hips that are going to want to sway off to the right stay back over the knees. Take another breath here. Exhale, release back to tabletop. Reach the right leg back behind you, toes curl under on the mat. Press back that right heel. Find something that feels good along that back chain. And rather than thinking just about the calf, think about that stretch coming all the way through the crown of the head. So as the heel reaches back, the crown of the head reaches forward, the belly pulls in, we push the floor away. And then go ahead and rock front to back a few times on those toes, stretching out the bottom of your foot, stretching out the toes. When you're ready, go ahead and press firmly into the top of that left foot, float the right leg, just hip height. Now again, watch for those hips swaying off to the left. Keep that left hip over the knee. Maybe come to fingertips in that left hand. If you're feeling it today, maybe that left arm reaches forward, but we push the floor away, pulling in the belly and ribs. One more breath. Left hand comes back down. Bend the right knee. Place the right foot up outside the right hand. And then we're just going to sink into that knee and back out again. In and out. One more breath here. Next time you bend into that right knee, pause, bend a little bit deeper, leave the left hand under the left shoulder, reach the right arm up. Bend the right elbow, place the hand behind the head, press the head into the hand. Open the chest. Bend that right knee a little deeper. One more breath. Exhale, release. Right hand comes back down. Float that right leg back behind you, off to the left. Toes curl under on the floor. Look over that left shoulder. Shift the hips to the right. Right leg reaches back behind you and knee down. Left leg reaches back, toes curl under on the floor. Press back that left heel. And again, try not to just stop at the knee. Let that reach come all the way through the crown of the head. So the heel is pinned back, crown of the head is reaching forward, belly in, ribs in, maybe straighten that left knee a little bit more. One more breath. Then we're going to rock front to back a few times on those left toes. Stretching out the feet. Press firmly into the top of that right foot. Float the left leg, just hip height. Again, your hips are going to want to sway to the right. Don't let them. Maybe come to fingertips on that right hand. Or maybe even reach that right arm forward, thumb up. Push the floor away. One more breath. Right hand comes back down. Bend the left knee up towards the left shoulder. Place the foot outside the hand. And then we're just going to rock front to back. Maybe getting a little bit into those hamstrings as well as the hip. Next time you bend that left knee, pause. Leave the right hand under the right shoulder, reach that left arm up. Bend the left elbow, hand comes behind the head, press the head into the hands, bend that left knee just a little bit deeper. One more breath. Exhale, release. Left hand comes down, left leg reaches back, off to the right, toes curl under on the floor, look over that right shoulder. Shift the hips to the left. Reach that left leg back again and knee down. Curl the toes under. Go ahead and sit back on those heels for just a couple of breaths. Now, if this is too much, if you find yourself up on your tippy toes, if your toes don't curl under the same way mine do, then go ahead and lift the knees till you find a place where your toes can come down to the floor. You can place your knees on a block, you can place your knees on a blanket, a pillow, whatever it may be. We want to stretch out the bottom of the feet, stretch out the bottom of the toes. We don't need to shorten the toes. Take one more breath here. Bring the hands down to the mat, float the feet, wiggle the toes. Maybe pat the tops of the feet down on the floor. Curl the toes under once again. This time you're going to lift the knees, walk the hands back towards the feet. We're going to meet in a forward fold at the back of the mat. Knees are soft here. The weight is back towards the heels. The toes are light. Head and neck are free to move. So feel free to shimmy those shoulders a little bit, shake the head around, whatever feels good to you. We'll stay here for about 3 more breaths. You can explore, you can stay still. Go ahead and slide the hands up the shins to just below the kneecaps. Straighten the elbows. Keep the knees soft. Slide the shoulders back towards your hips, belly in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Tailbone is lifted, chest is open, gaze is down at the mat. So we're not looking forward here. We're long through the back of the neck. Exhale, forward fold. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift, belly in. Exhale, release. Deep bend in the knees. Inhale all the way up. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Take a moment here in Tadasana. All 10 toes are pointed forward. Heels are lined up under the center of the hips. The chest is open, but the belly is in. Tailbone is reaching for the heels, not under, not back. Shoulders slide down towards the hips. Take 2 more breaths. How's that patience working this morning? Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release, walk yourself out to plank pose. Top of a push-up. So heels of the feet are over the toes. Heads of the shoulders are over the heels of the hands. Rock front to back about 3 times on those toes. Next time you rock forward, bring the knees down. Open the chest, so lift the gaze, press your heart forward as you lower slow and controlled. Elbows stay tucked in. Heels of the hands are down towards your waist. Thumbs are maybe at the lower ribs. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. Kneecaps are lifted. Shoulders pull back. Belly pulls in. Lift head, heart, shoulders. Exhale, release. Remember, your back does the lifting, not your arms. Press into the tops of the feet, belly in, lift. Exhale, release. One last time. Inhale, lift, hold. A little bit higher. Exhale, release. Stack one hand on top of the other. Rest your forehead on your hands, bend your knees, and wave your feet from side to side. Take one more breath. Release the feet. Plant the hands next to the ribs again. Press yourself up and back to child's pose. Big toes are going to touch. Knees are outer hip distance, maybe even as wide as your mat. Hips towards the heels. Leave the arms out in front. Melt your heart down towards the floor. Take one more breath. Curl the toes under. Walk the hands back. Lift the knees, lift the hips, forward fold again at the back of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale all the way up, arms reach up overhead. Right hand grabs that left wrist, take it off to the right, belly in, ribs in, look under that left arm. Inhale all the way back up, switch the grip. Off to the left, belly in, ribs in, look under that right arm. Inhale all the way back up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down, walk yourself out to plank pose. Leave the left foot where it is, bring the left knee straight down. Step the right foot up in between the hands. All the way to the top of the mat. So you end up with right knee directly over that right ankle, and the left knee is well behind that left hip. Go ahead and walk yourself up that right leg. Right hip back, left hip forward. Place your hands on that right thigh and just push the chest back a little bit as you bend that right knee. So we're not collapsing down into the groin here. We're keeping the torso back over the hips. Take another breath here. Looking for length in the front of this left hip. You may even feel it down into the quad. Exhale, release, hands come down around. Maybe grab some blocks if you've got them handy. We're going to roll up on that right heel. I always have to wiggle that right foot forward a little bit. The heel usually ends up about where the toes were. So that when I extend that right leg, I still end up with the hips over, especially the left hip over that left knee. So it's not swaying off to the left. It's not back behind. It's not in front. Directly over that knee. Flex that right foot and pull back on the pinky toe and reach away with the big toe. Chest is open. You are certainly allowed to sink a little bit deeper, but try not to take tailbone down and round deeper. Reach your heart for your big toe more than your nose for your knee. One more breath. Exhale, release. Soften that front knee. Set your blocks off to the side. Step back to plank pose. Right knee comes straight down. Right foot stays back. Step the left foot up in between the hands. Heel is under that knee. Right knee is well behind that left hip. Go ahead and walk yourself up that left leg. Belly in, ribs in, push the torso back. And then you can maybe bend that left knee a little bit deeper. We're just not collapsing into this pose. There's lots of lift happening. My right leg is really active right now, pushing me up. One more breath. Exhale, release, hands come down around. Again, I'm going to wiggle that left foot forward a little bit so that when I extend the leg, come up on that heel, I end up with right hip over that right knee. Again, I'm going to start with blocks on the highest setting. We haven't gotten into these hamstrings too much, so be nice. Chest is going to stay open, tailbone is going to stay lifted. Big toe forward, pinky toe back. Think about laying your heart on your ankle. One more breath. Exhale, release. Plant that left foot. Curl the right toes under, blocks off to the side. Step up to the top of the mat this time. Slide the hands up the shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale all the way up, arms reach up overhead. Right hand grabs that left wrist. Step your left tippy toes out to the left. So all the weight is now in your right leg. It's just your tippy toes. We're not stepping into that left foot. Take the torso to the right. If you're feeling stable, consider floating just with a flex of the ankle, floating that left foot. One more breath. Place the left foot down next to the right. Switch the grip. Right foot steps out to the side, just tippy toes. Take the torso to the left and maybe float that right foot. It's not a lift at the hip. We're still reaching with that right heel towards the mat. Right foot steps down next to the left. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release, plank pose. Top of a push-up. A little bit of abdominal strength here. Go ahead and tap the right knee down to the floor and pick it back up. Left knee down to the floor, pick it back up. Right. Left. The feet stay where they are. One more on each side. Right. And left. Rock forward on your tippy toes. Both knees come down. Open the chest and come all the way down to your belly. Press firmly into the tops of the feet. Squeeze the elbows in and lift. Exhale, release. Press yourself up and back to either child's pose or maybe curl the toes under, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. If you've chosen down dog, keep the shoulders out of the ears and keep those knees soft. We want the tailbone lifted, and oftentimes when we lock our knees, the tailbone comes down. We want that tailbone to stay lifted. Take another breath here. We are going to once again meet back in plank pose. Stay here just long enough to bring that left knee straight down. Step the right foot up in between the hands again. This time as we go ahead and walk ourselves up that right leg, we're going to reach arms up overhead. Right hip back, left hip forward. Lots of strength in this left leg, pushing you up. So the pelvic floor lifts up towards the belly button. And then you might choose to bend that right knee a little bit deeper, but it's more forward than down. One more breath. Right hand to that right thigh, left hand comes to the floor or block under that left shoulder. Turn, look over the right shoulder, reach the right arm up. Option to reach that right arm for the back of the room, bend a little deeper into that right knee, and maybe catch that left foot. Now, if you're struggling to catch that foot, I often see people trying to move their hips back to get it, just makes it further away. Hips forward to catch that foot. I know it seems counterintuitive. One more breath. Exhale, release. Child's pose or down dog. In either pose, you can shift the weight from hip to hip. Neither pose, we want the shoulders out of the ears and the head free to move. Inhaling back into our plank pose. Just long enough to bring that right knee straight down and step the left foot up in between the hands. Walking yourself up that left leg. Belly in, ribs in, strong in that right leg. Reach the arms up. Lift the pelvic floor up towards the belly button. You want to touch the ceiling more than you want to bring those hips down. So bring that left knee forward without losing your height. One more breath. Left hand comes down to the left thigh. Right hand is under the right shoulder. Floor or a block. Turn, look over the left shoulder. Reach the left arm up. Option to reach that left arm for the back of the room. Bend a little deeper into that left knee, bringing the hips forward, and then maybe you can catch that left foot or right foot. If you find yourself back on the kneecap, I want you to bring your hips forward. So you were going to rest on the thigh instead of the knee. One more breath. Exhale, release. Step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale all the way up, arms reach up overhead. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Separate the feet outer hip distance. All 10 toes are still pointed forward. Soften the knees. Reach the knuckles away, opening the chest. And then forward fold. Shoulders are out of the ears. So if you feel your chin is lifted, chances are your shoulders have rolled up towards the base of the neck. Dip the chin and reach those knuckles away. Try and let the neck just be loose. One more breath. Release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Step the left foot to the back of the mat. Bring that left knee down. Walk yourself up that right leg. Arms reach up overhead. Bring that right hand down. Leave the left arm alongside the ear. Right hand, we're going to twist a little bit to the right. Maybe that right hand comes to the left thigh, just to sort of aid in that twist. Reach that left arm up long. Bend that right knee a little bit deeper. One more breath. hands come down around. This time we're going to leave the foot flat as we extend that right leg. So again, you can have blocks underneath your hands. Left hip is over that left knee. Press into the ball mount of the big toe as you pull back on the groin side of that right hip. Chest is open. Now I definitely feel a little stretch in my hamstring, but where I really feel a stretch today is the top of my right foot. One more breath. Exhale, release, soften that right knee. Step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale all the way up, arms reach up overhead. Feet are again outer hip distance. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Have the awkward thumb on top this time. So whatever is your natural grip, switch the fingers up. Reach the knuckles away, soften those knees, hips move back, heart comes forward and down. Again, keep the shoulders out of the ears, so if you feel your chin lifting, move those shoulders back, drop the chin. If you'd like this time, you could add a little softening of one knee, softening of the other, go back and forth. Take one more breath. Release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Forward and down. Step your right foot all the way to the back of the mat till left knee is over left ankle, hip in line with knee. Right knee comes straight down. Walk yourself up that left leg. Belly in, ribs in, tailbone down. Arms reach up overhead. Opening up the front of that right leg. Leave the right arm alongside the ear. Drop that left hand down. We're going to start to twist to the left. It helps a little bit in that twist if you can get that left hand around to that right leg to pull the heart around. Bend that left knee a little deeper. One more breath. Exhale, release. Hands come down around. We're going to leave the foot flat on the floor and pull those hips back. Extending that left leg. With that left hip directly over that left knee. We're lengthening the inseam here, so keep the ball mount of the big toe pressed into the floor as we pull back on the left side of the groin. Again, I definitely feel a little stretch in my hamstring, but really what's getting the benefit out of this pose, where the work is being done, is the top of my left foot. Heart forward. One more breath. Soften that front knee. Step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale all the way up, arms reach up overhead. Left hand grabs that right wrist. This time, we're going to step the left tippy toes out to the side first. Again, we're not going into those toes. We're not shifting any weight in that direction. All the weight is in the right leg. Left hand is on that right wrist. We're going to take the torso to the left and then maybe float that left foot. One more breath. Place the left foot down next to the right. Switch the grip. Off to the right. Shift the weight into that left foot. Right tippy toes out to the side. And maybe float that right foot. One more breath. Place the left foot down next to the right. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Plant the hands. It could be just fingertips. Soften the knees as much as you need to. Lift the heels. Bring the hips down towards those heels. Knees are up into the chest. Now we're going to attempt a toe stand here. So if it's not in the cards, if this is enough stress on your feet, leave your hands down on the floor. Or if you'd like, maybe start to lift the chest. The knees are going to come a little bit further forward. Bring the hands to heart center. Take 2 more breaths here. And with as much control as you can muster, we're going to go ahead and bring the hips all the way down to the mat. Sit up nice and tall. Again, you may want to sit on the edge of a blanket or a pillow. That tiny little lift of the tailbone feels good in the hips, but also helps us keep our lumbar curve. Bring your left hand or right hand over to that left leg. Reach the left arm up alongside the ear. Take a twist to the left. Reach up a little bit higher. Twist a little bit further. Bring that left hand down behind you, and it's just fingertips. So I know you can't really see it, but my left elbow is soft here, and I'm just using those fingertips to pull around. So I'm not dropping back onto that hand. Take another breath here. Exhale, release. Left hand comes over to that right thigh. Maybe the knee, maybe closer to the hip, anywhere in between. Right arm reaches up. Find your length. Twist. Reach up a little bit higher. Twist a little bit further. Bring that right hand down behind you, fingertips into the floor, pulling that right shoulder back and the chest around. Keep that right elbow, slight bend. 1 more breath. Release, back to center. Let's just give our neck a little bit of love before we lay down. Close your eyes and just bring your focus to the tip of your nose. And then we're going to draw an infinity symbol with the tip of our nose, which is a figure 8 on its side. Doesn't matter which direction you start in. Go ahead and start to move. How big or small this movement is, the pace is up to you. I do recommend a little bit slower, just so you don't rush past anything, so you don't hurt yourself. Last thing we want to do here is create a kink. Next time you get to center, pause and change direction. Next time you get to center, pause. We're now going to turn it into a proper figure 8 up and down. So go ahead and just start to draw that with the tip of your nose. I have utilized this in some live classes, and when I open my eyes and look around the room, about everybody's interpretation is different. Once you get to center again, pause and change direction. Back to center. Pause. If there's anything else your body needs before we head to Shavasana, go ahead and address that. Take a couple of breaths to just sort of examine, to look around, see how you're feeling. Take care of whatever you need to take care of, and we will meet in Shavasana. Of course, you can do Shavasana seated if you so choose. I highly recommend laying down. I always use a little pillow under my head. If your back is bothering you, finish the class same way we started. Knees bent, feet wide, knees falling in towards one another. If your back is feeling okay, you can let your legs be extended. Something in between, you could place a couple of pillows underneath your knees. You could throw your feet up over the edge of a couch or a chair or your bed even. We just want to find a place that is easy. So kind of having knees bent and pointed up towards the ceiling takes a little bit of effort to hold them up. So if you're going to have those knees bent, make sure you find some support for them. Elbows are far enough away from the ribs that we can get airflow all the way up towards the armpits. You can have palms up out to the side as long as they're not higher than your shoulders, or bend the elbows and rest fingertips on the belly. Just keep those elbows out. And breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. With each inhale, we create space, and with each exhale, we soften into that space. Eventually, your mind is going to wander. It's going to go to the future, the past. It's going to go anywhere but here. That's what the mind does. It thinks. Once you notice that it has left this room, bring it back. Bring it back to the mat, back to the breath, back to your body. Over and over and over and over and over again. Slowly allow your breath to deepen. Bringing your awareness back to the room and back to your body. Wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Moving wrists and ankles. Eventually arms and legs. Until you're ready to bend your knees and roll over to your right side, pausing there for a breath or two. And just be there. Feel the weight of your body down on the floor on the right. Feel the dent in the left side of the body. And then using the strength of the arms, bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position, eyes closed one more time. Notice how you feel. This is inside of you all the time. This quiet center. It gets a little bit cluttered. It gets a little bit covered up with life. You know, the stressors of the day, the excitement of new adventures. That peace can get kind of hard to find, but it is always there. Usually a couple of deep breaths can help to reveal it. So when you'd like things to slow down, when you want to come back to the present moment, let's say you're having a wonderful experience and you just want to be there, take a couple of deep breaths. Let's say things are hard and you're worried about how it's all going to turn out, or regretting something that happened earlier. Take a few deep breaths and just be there. Wishing you peace and joy and love and light. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, and Namaste.